I mean, seed corn production probably had the least amount of effect because it's all done so early. It was done in that earlier time frame. You know, the seed corn producers of the world, they do a fantastic job of managing that crop. On the other side of it with soybeans, it gets more difficult because there's so many more acres of soybeans required to produce what we need for the next year's commercial crop, and that presents some challenges. With this growing season, you know, that first week we had a lot of beans that were in that 10 to 13% range, and you're comfortable
Moisture.
from a moisture standpoint, yeah, and you're happy with that. But all of a sudden it changed fast. We had a lot of beans harvested below 9, below 8, and that is where you start to see some potential issues with a seed crop going into the next year.
Potential issues such as splits and what else?
Yeah, a couple things. Splits being the biggest one. With how dry those beans get, you do run a huge risk of having some more splits, and then of course affecting the germ. Now, germination has been something we deal with every year, regardless of the growing season. The difference in this year is, in years past, we have a bad germ issue. We generally can get that product switched out for good or a better product, a good quality or a better germ. This year, that could present some challenges because of the amount of acres that were harvested at a drier moisture overall and the number of volume of acres.
A lot of people think that soybean seed replicated down in South America. And is that going to be enough? Is it going to be blended in with what's in Illinois?
We can hope, but you know the challenge with the South America side of things is getting that seed here in a timely fashion. You know, we battle that on the corn side as well with some of what gets produced in those areas. Some of that stuff doesn't show up till the 1st of April, second week of April at times, and that could be a challenge, especially with our earlier planting bean studies that we have and the industry has found. I think we're pretty comfortable saying early beans is the better option for yield versus later planted. And so guys want to go plant beans in April, and we don't have them because we're waiting on them to get transferred from South America. We have an issue there potentially as well. So I think the one positive, at least from a United Prairie standpoint, is almost all the beans we sell are produced in this state and brought to us in a relatively timely fashion. We get a few from Iowa and we get a few from Indiana, but the vast majority of the production of seed is so close, we can really manage this in a better way.
Now, you opened up a really great door. Early planting of soybeans. A lot of guys are really pushing it and pushing it early.
Mm-hmm.
If they want to, what do they need to do to give that bean a pretty good winter coat before
Yep.
so it'll germinate?
Yep, we're talking a lot about seed treatment and exploring those avenues. Seed treatment on soybeans is not new, but what you're actually using, the rates you're using it at, and the combinations of things you can use today, that's what's always changing, and that's the part we're really focusing on in our data and in outside data as well. It's no secret that treated soybeans has been better from a yield standpoint. Now it's that fine tuning of, well, hey, I'm going to go plant beans the first week of April. What do I need? Those are the kind of conversations we're having and really starting to research and look at.
Okay, now dates are a little bit different than soil temperatures.
Yeah.
How early or how low would you push that soil temperature?
This is a personal opinion, not a United Prairie question. We have planted a lot of beans in the month of March and early April that have been fantastic. And beans are tougher than a corn crop. I mean, from a germination standpoint, with that seed treatment, they really can withstand a lot more. The other key I look at is on a soybean side, if you lose a certain percentage of those beans, they don't emerge, you still have an excellent chance at your full yield potential. With corn, you want every plant you can get to come up. So we wait on those warmer climates, those perfect ground temperatures, those perfect dried out at the right time. You know, we wait on that. There's a lot more of this on the soybean side that gets pushed a little harder, and we probably plant some beans when we shouldn't be, and they still end up being very good. It's all about getting those beans out of the ground and starting to capture that sunlight as soon as possible. My personal opinion, again, is if we can get those beans into reproductive stage sooner, they'll capture those longer sunlight days through the summer.
Well, that's the whole point of getting it in
Yep.
the ground sooner.
Yep.
But you make an interesting point of getting it up and out and getting it into the sun. I think some people are thinking, well, how about moisture and temperature? But you're adding sun to that.
Yeah, sun plays a huge part, especially and specifically on the soybean side. That sunlight is what that bean wants when she's growing. So we want to try and help get that bean in to maximize that sunlight. Early on is a very important part of that bean's life, but it's all about the later season. As we start to approach that reproductive stage and we're building that yield, you want to be able to capture that bean in the earlier stages to take in as much sunlight as it can.